We are about to take a dive into the UFC 266 betting preview. This betting preview segment is brought to you by DenverSportsBetting.com. For all of your latest updates on the sports gambling world, make sure that you hit up DenverSportsBetting.com. This weekend at UFC 266, like we alluded to on the opening, it is a monumental card that is jam-packed with stars. Obviously, we mentioned one of them, but starting from the top, we have a championship fight in the featherweight division. That's 145 pounds, folks. And that is between Alexander Volkanovski, and he's taking on Brian T. City Ortega. Josh, what do you think about this clash between the Tough 29 coaches?
Dude, this is going to be a fun fight. We finally get to see the culmination of the Ultimate Fighter coaches meeting together, and it's going to be interesting to see if Ortega, I personally think, if Ortega can handle Volkanovski's pressure and his pace.
Yeah, I think that the pace and the pressure that Volkanovski can potentially put into play is something that may have an issue with Brian Ortega. But Josh, Volkanovski has never fought a submissions master yet, in the sense that that a guy like Brian Ortega, who can find a submission from literally anywhere. From standing, from the ground on the bottom, from the ground on the top, in clinch situations, he's going to be able to find and attack things. And he has an ace up his sleeve, and a guy like Henry Gracie, who is just this ultra genius and just prodigy wild child of figuring out positions and how to master control.
Yeah.
He's obviously from the direct lineage of the famous Gracie family. So that's something that I think is going to come into play for someone like Brian Ortega. And Josh, I also think that something that we have to consider is Brian doesn't have the cleanest boxing in the world, but he's got a pretty solid jab, and he's dirty, and he's got puro corazón. He's got that gritty Mexican heart that he goes in there and he fights to the absolute last breath.
Yeah, and he showed that toughness when he fought Holloway. And, I mean, yeah, you're right. He can have that positioning, but his stand-up isn't where, it needs to be on pace with Volkanovski, I think. And I don't believe that time, it's even though it was a while, cut his hair, grew it back, and has a long time training, but I don't think it's enough just yet, especially with the stand-up and the pace and the combinations that Volk puts together. Yeah, he has a little, like, Volk can wrestle, but I don't think he's going to engage in that until he feels like maybe he has to.
I think that Volk, if he ends up in a point to where he needs to start shooting, it's not a good situation.
It's not a good situation, and then
even if he has a tiny neck that is going to be hard to choke, he's not going to have a whole ton of opportunities for those head and arm chokes or things of that nature.
Yeah.
But I think that Brian is just that affluent in his submission skills to where he's going to figure something out. So that being said, let's get right into it. Shop around for your best odds out there, folks. But on average, most books are coming up to around Alexander Volkanovski being the slight favorite at a -165, with T-City being the comeback at +140. Josh, what do you think?
I don't really have a I personally believe Alex is going to win. I don't have a round or anything like that, but I do believe that it's going to be a finish in under 4.5.
Okay, well,
that's a +105.
On the flip side, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go T-City, and I think that Brian Ortega finds a way to get a submission. If we're talking, each of these guys has 9 fights in the UFC. Alexander Volkanovski has 3 finishes as opposed to Brian Ortega having 7 finishes. Now, one of those was overturned to a no contest, but nonetheless, if we're talking what happened as far as the action in the cage, it was a first-round finish. So, that all things considered, the way that he goes out there and hunts for the kill, that leads me to side on Brian T-City Ortega.
Under 4.5, though?
I think so.
Yeah?
Okay. I think so.
Okay.
And I think especially if he finds something that he can attack while they're dry, I think that the later on that it goes, it might be a little bit harder for a submission once they're slippery. But if he can find something while they're still dry, I think it's a very, very tough thing for Volkanovski to figure his way out. And I know that there's no way Volkanovski is going to submit him. So that
Crazier things have happened, Jordan.
well, speaking of crazier things, we have one of the biggest landslide of odds that you can figure in this co-main event matchup right here.
We're throwing the house on it, right?
It's not at all to slight lucky Lauren Murphy, who, she's coming in and she's riding a solid little win streak that she has going on right now. Now, a couple of them were very tightly contested fights, a split decision thrown in the mix. But she's going up against a buzzsaw and arguably the greatest overall female mixed martial artist of all time in the Bullet Valentina Shevchenko. Look, there's always, like you said, the potential that there could be some sort of Matt Serra and GSP situation going on, but the likelihood of that happening is slim to none, and none is leading the race right now, my friend.
I mean, yeah, that's a Hail Mary. That's a once in a lifetime crazy thing that could happen. Not to slight Lauren Murphy at all. Maybe the luck of the Irish will be there. We'll see, but I don't believe it'll happen. Valentina is just so good. Like,
and the speed difference.
The speed difference, the technical difference, just the pure MMA IQ, and I'm not going to say toughness, just like that laser focus to finish or kill and just have a focus for a long extended period of time that a lot of people can't do in that cage.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with it right there. And Valentina Shevchenko, like I've said it before and said it here on the show, I think that she's secretly, like a spy or like an agent out there, like, someone who looks the way she does, she can dance the way that she does, she's fluent in multiple languages, and she's like a sniper level assassin.
She's a real life Black Widow.
Yes.
100%.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like Valentina Shevchenko, she's just the one who's like Tim Kennedy getting the chance to actually go fight in the cage.
She probably knows where the Avengers are.
Could very well. So let's just take a look at the line real quick. Let's go. Massive difference as far as the odds go. We have the Bullet Valentina Shevchenko coming in at a staggering favorite at minus 1,300. She'll be taking on the Lauren Murphy at a plus 730. And that's just the money line, folks.
Honestly, but if you're looking for value and you like to live on the edge and always cling to that hope, if you want to bet on a fight line, on a finishing, on like a method of winning, if you look at Lauren Murphy by KO or TKO, it's a plus 2,500. Just throw 10, $20 on it. Maybe something crazy happens.
You want to know what also would be crazy with that $10, $20?
Probably get some Chipotle or something.
Well, I was going to say, you can just go right out in your yard and light it on fire, and you'll probably be more entertained for
but if you light it on fire, there's no sense of hope, Jordan.
My point exactly here, Josh. My point exactly. So my pick is obviously going with Valentina Shevchenko. I don't think that there's any possible way that she's going to be bested in this in this fight. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't believe so either. But always rooting for the underdog. Always like to see something crazy happen. But yeah, I think Valentina's gonna get this one pretty easy.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now is the time, folks, where we're going to put the spotlight on a couple of fights, fighters, or some feature picks on the card that stick out to us. I'm going to go ahead and shine the spotlight on, yes, I'm a Diaz stan, but I'm putting the spotlight here on the Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler matchup here, Josh. Now, if you believe in signs, folks, here is one for you. The last fight between these two was 209 months ago, back in 2004 at UFC 47. Nick Diaz, the Stockton, California 209 representative, has been out for more than 6 years, so there's absolutely no way that we can have a true gauge of where Nick is in his career. We just don't know. There's too many factors and too many variables out there that come into play, from the damage that he's already had throughout his career, along with the potential damage from parting, whatever else may have happened throughout the last couple of years. Age, obviously, is a factor, as well as inactivity. These are all things to come into play, and we have to wonder, what went into the decision last minute for the fight to move from 170 to go back up to 185. I think that all these things are factors that are at play. Obviously, we know that Nick Diaz stays in shape year in and year out. He's a decorated triathlete. He's known for his endurance sports accomplishments. He's we don't know though, Josh. Is this going to translate into potential success in the octagon on Saturday night against his familiar foe in Robbie Lawler? Robbie Lawler, he's fallen on hard times since he dropped his title back in 2016 to Tyron Woodley. He's won just one fight since that time, but he's still been fighting. He's still been active, training actively in the gym, and fighting some of the top guys in the world and the top guys in the welterweight division. As we know, power is one of the last things to go when we're talking about tools that leave from a fighter's tool belt, if you will.
Yeah.
Speed and quickness are some of the first things to leave, whereas you see some of the fighters, especially in the bigger weight classes, are able to have success later on in their career because of that power factor.
Yeah.
Robbie, obviously, I think, has the advantage when we're talking power.
Still has it.
But when we're talking, Nick and his ability to throw combinations like that, the boxing that Nick used to have and his ability to attack the body and just invest those shots for later on in the fight, Josh, I don't know if we're going to see a different – I think we'll see a different Robbie Lawler, and we won't see someone as emotional as that first matchup back in 2004, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm so excited.
I know. That's the thing. You don't know, and it's super exciting, and it's going to be interesting. And I think this is a good novelty fight for the fans because it is Diaz coming back from a long layoff. And Lawler, he's dropped his last couple. You can tell that he's on the tail end of his career. So this is a good novelty fight. I hope that there's some exciting moments. I hope Diaz comes out and, reignites the fire in all of us because let's be honest, we're all Diaz fans, whether we want to admit it or not. We're all huge fans, and it's a huge fight for everyone to watch.
Definitely, and I think that we really, in Nick Diaz, maybe a lot of new fans don't truly appreciate the greatness of Nick Diaz, Josh, because Nick Diaz changed the game in so many different ways, I feel like. He was one of the original guys who just brought that raw, real ruggedness, just the way that he would just talk his smack. I mean, you had Steve Mazzagatti in the original matchup telling him, "No talking, Nick," to which Joe Rogan, "No talking, I don't think that's a rule." But he was also a guy who made it a very, put it in the forefront to weaponize pace. I don't think that prior to Nick Diaz, we had really ever seen somebody who would weaponize pace in the way that he did.
Yeah, to make someone gas is a very good skill. To use the combinations, his footwork, and everything, and even when you're yelling at people and you're getting them to think and you're getting them to use different nervous system, like it's gonna gas you. I wonder if that will trickle down to one of his proteges that's fighting also this weekend. And my pick for this week, this is just something. It's not breaking news. I'm not breaking it, but it is breaking news.
You are breaking it.
I'm breaking it. I'm breaking it. I'm breaking it.
It's a cool, have some confidence.
It's a cool experience, and I get to be a part of it. And I was awesome because, all right, so Nicholas Maximov, protege of the Diaz, fighting this weekend against a short notice replacement teammate at Factory X, Cody Brundage. Crazy experience. We were in the middle of drilling this morning. Someone comes over, "Hey, Cody, you need to get your phone." Cody's like, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" He's all nervous, like, "Oh, is something wrong?" Goes over to his phone, and I remember him seeing, like, all this nervousness, and then all of a sudden, a big grin is on his face, and we're like, "Cody, what's up? What's up?" Cody got the call. Cody's going to be fighting Nicholas Maximov this weekend at UFC 266. Obviously, I'm riding with my boy. Obviously, we're going with Cody. No question here. Going to be a great fight. They were originally scheduled to fight on the Contender Series. Maximov got called up. And then at last minute, Cody just got called up here. So the fight's finally going to happen. It's going to be a great fight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, folks, that is absolutely no lie about Josh being completely energized by that news. He is sweating right now.
If you guys would have seen the gym this morning, like the gym this morning, when you get that call after you see Cody, the guy who works his tail off every day, day in and day out, that's just motivating as a teammate. That's motivating as a friend. And the energy in the room this morning, it made practice that much better.
Certainly. And stylistically, I think that it's a fantastic matchup for Cody.
It is.
You have Nicholas Maximov, who is known for basically just going out there and relentlessly applying pressure and attacking those takedowns, Well, Cody's your huckleberry right there.
Yeah, it's not the guy you want to keep trying to do that to. I'm telling you, Cody has a high level of wrestling ability. And not only does he have that high level wrestling, when he's moved out here, he's made leaps and bounds in his striking. And I'm predominantly a striker myself, and I notice because he's giving me fits, dude. So he is up there, and I think that he's going to be able to go out there this weekend and win this relatively easily.
I could not agree with you more. You know, this was a matchup that was originally supposed to take place in about a week and a half on the Contender Series.
Yeah.
Nicholas Maximov got the call up earlier prior to Cody to fight Carl Baby K. Roberson, and obviously Roberson had to pull out due to medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
So that just opened up the door for our boy who was about to be fighting on the Contender Series in a couple of weeks. And Cody's so glad that you were able to get that opportunity, and we hope that this fight week experience is everything that you imagine that it would be as you take this fun on short notice. Soak it up and enjoy it, my brother. We'll be looking forward to watching you go to work on Saturday. Just one other matchup that really kind of pops off the screen for me before we hit to the break, Josh, is the Marlon Moraes against Merab Dvalishvili.
That's an
interesting matchup in the bantamweight division.
And I always love watching the Magic Man go out there and fight, man. He is just looks like a Dragon Ball Z character, to be honest with you. He just goes out there and he has so much skill. The pace that he puts on, it's just going to be an exciting fight.
I agree. You know, for me, I think that this is going to be a good test, though, because Marlon has had some.
He's had some drop off, yeah.
You know, especially going up against the guys like Rob Font. And one thing about Marlon, Josh, is he cuts so much weight to get to 35. He would be a guy that, say, Merab keeps on doing what Merab has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Magic Man test the waters by going up a class.
Yeah.
Use your speed and use your quickness as an advantage while you go up to that next class and see what it may do.
See if you can find some success, yeah.
Exactly. You know, put a new coat of paint on it and then kick the tire and see what happens after that. You know, that, as Uncle Chael likes to say.
Just kick the tire.
Just kick the tire on it. Folks, let us know what you think of our picks there. Hit us up on the Go Fast Energy Drink hotline and text line at 303-831-1340. I'm Jordan Kurtz, sitting here alongside Josh Friend. This is the MMA Plug presented to you by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, little thick bitch, fine little mamacita. Always coolin' by the pool, drinking margaritas. Yeah, it's Pippin over here, and we ain't trippin' over pesos. I know it's good now, but luego, I can never show no love to a faker.